What's up, everybody? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. For this Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021, I am your host, Russ Williams. I'm so glad you could be here today, ladies and gentlemen. I know you could have been anywhere on this earth, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm excited you're here with me, and I appreciate that. And more importantly, I appreciate you. So welcome to Transition Tuesdays, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, I have a special guest on with us today. We got an action-packed show today. But before I do that, I always like to state my intentions for the show. And my intentions is to give you the opportunity to laugh, smile, think, and engage in honest conversations about your life's transition. So that's what we do here on Transition Tuesdays. And speaking of honest conversation, special guest, are you on the line, sir?
Yeah, I'm on, Ross.
Okay, perfect. Now, special guest, I'm going to bring you out to the arena the correct way, okay? So I'm going to read your extensive bio. So everybody out there, just stay with me on this because there's a lot to read here. As we got Steve joining us today on the check-in. What's going on, Steve? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. All right. Now, my special guest is a fixture in the Manhattan College athletic community. This young man is responsible for shaping the lives of young people in the Riverdale section of the Bronx. For the men's and the women's basketball program at Manhattan College, my guest helped shape the careers of many players and coaches. He was the former athletic director at Manhattan College for well over 2 decades, and he did a phenomenal job. We're going to talk about that. And I want to catch up with my good friend just to see how he was making the transition from being a problem-solving AD to now in retirement. So we're going to talk about this, that, and the third with this young man. So, ladies and gentlemen, Transition Army, please help me welcome Mr. Bob Byrnes to Transition Tuesdays. All right, Mr. B, how are you, sir?
Very good, Russ. And I got to tell you, it's been a while since we've been together, in the gym, but your voice, your spirit, your positivity is still the same. It's great.
Oh, thank you so much. And speaking of great, we got our good guy. Well, we got your son, Brian, on the check-in today. What's going on, Brian? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. We also got John Lee joining. What's going on, John? Another Jasper joining us. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Transition Tuesdays. Well, Mr. Byrnes, I know you're new to the show, and what I do for my guests is I make you feel warm and fuzzy. I make you feel comfortable while you're here, while we're talking environment today. So, Mr. Byrnes, I'm going to play 2 songs for you, and I think you will appreciate these songs. There's one song I think of you, Mr. Byrnes. Every time I hear this song, I think of you. So I'm gonna play this for you and tell me what you think. Okay, hold on one second. Let me pull it up here. All right, here we go.
Yeah, you got it, bro.
Oh, do you know who sings this song?
Yeah, Frank Sinatra. Yeah.
Frank Sinatra, Old Blue Eyes. Oh man.
Every Yankee game, every basketball game at our place.
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. I forgot about that. That's right. We just played at every home game. Yep. Well, we got the win. I think we got the win all. It didn't matter. We just played it every time, I believe, right?
I thought we played it for wins.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Yep. So I heard it a lot of times in Draddy.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we definitely did. We definitely did. All right. So Old Blue Eyes, the theme for New York, New York. Now I'm gonna play this other song for you too, Mr. Byrnes. Now, I don't know. I'm not sure if if you're into music, what have you. But again, when I hear this song, I think of you as well too. I think of you. So, and before I play the song, we got Ron Niclario joining us. Man, we got a Hall of Fame basketball coach and man joining us. We also got we got Steven joining us. What's going on, Steven? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. And we got the voice of the Jaspers, Mr. Chris B. Williams, Uncle Smoothie, joining us as well.
Right.
Let me play this other cut for you, Mr. Byrnes. Tell me what you think. All right, hold on one second. It's a way back. It's like one of these instant classic songs. Here we go. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
All right. this song too by Queen. Another One Bites the Dust. I think when we got the win at Draddy as well, right?
Yeah, but you just stumped the stars here with
What you say, Mr. Byrnes?
you stumped me with the second one, but
Oh, oh, that was by Queen. Another One Bites the Dust. Yeah, I think I heard that a couple of times in Draddy after we got the win. You know, there's another team biting the dust.
Oh yeah.
No doubt. Oh, I'm glad you like your music. Oh man. Well, Mr. Byrnes, I got a couple of questions for you. We got a lot of people going to be checking in and saying hello to you. Yeah, I'm really excited to have you on. I know you don't do these often, so that's why I'm really excited to have you on today.
Right. Yeah.
So, Mr. Byrnes, I'll be remiss. I want to ask you, my first question is, how are you and your family doing during these 3 pandemics that we have? You know, we got COVID, we got the economy as a pandemic, we got the social unrest in this country. So, how are you and your family coping with these pandemics?
The illness, the injury, COVID, sickness, death, and so on has been really tough. My wife is administrator at Westchester Medical Center in Valhalla here, and you know, she experienced, you know, firsthand what was going on there.
Right.
The social unrest, you know, I have a 15-year-old daughter, and I am learning a great deal from her about, you know, from the eyes of a young person.
Yes.
How wrong things have been in the past. She's taught me how, you know, or mentioned and had discussions about privilege.
Yeah.
About the need to help. And quite frankly, my wife and I really spend our time helping others, and my daughter follows through with that. You know, my wife started a food bank, a food train at the hospital that fed the doctors and nurses in COVID.
That's amazing. That's great. For
months. Not only this hospital, but the others in the Westchester Medical chain. And, you know, I've done the food bank, meal deliveries. I help with, you know, different things in that regard in the community. So
that's great.
You know, you got to do what you can, you know, and it's been tough, you know, being in a, you know, getting cabin fever, being, you know, isolated for a long time. But,
right. No, definitely. Yeah. It's great that you're able to have, you know, have the conversation with your younger daughter on what's going on, like the social unrest and injustice. You know, I like for myself, I have a 16-year-old and I have a 19-year-old. So we're in constant communication about what's going on, you know, socially. So that's good that you're doing that. And it's good that your wife is doing that with the food drive and stuff. That's a great thing to do.
Yeah. It's you know, giving back is really important for, you know, everyone. I had been a Red Cross volunteer for, you know, years before.
Yeah.
Primarily through doing platelet donations that are, you can do them every week. They're good for, you know, certain patients with cancer and burn victims. But, you know, it's trying to live the service to others that, you know, we were taught in schools. And to try and live it. So.
And you know, Mr. Byrnes, you're a giver from the word jump. So you know, from the word go. So that, you know, I'm not surprised that you giving your time, you know, all the time. So that you know, you're a giver. So that, you know, I know that's a give in.
Thank you. No, it's, you know, it's the way you're brought up. And what you observe, the things you went on at Manhattan, you know, as students. Anyway, I stayed involved with basketball. I ran the Paris CYO basketball program and coached the team for years. started a golf outing there to fund the gym renovations that were badly needed at this terrific Catholic school called St. Augustine's in Ossining. Did a little bit of Manhattan work where I had the floor stripped and painted and new lettering put it down, new logo, padded the walls, got new lighting. It was, you know, a kind of a labor of love to, you know, get other people behind a project and then turn, you know, a kind of a drab-looking gym into really a showplace for CYO basketball in Upper Westchester. So
wow, yeah. So that you know, you got the track record with giving. Oh man, that's good stuff. Hey, Mr. Byrnes, we have a couple people watching. We got my man Tommy Gizmo. He hasn't heard this in a while on the check-in. Thank you for checking in, Tommy. We also got one of Jasper's finest, Tariq Thacker, joining us. And Tariq Thacker says, Mr. Byrnes, he says, hashtag our AD is better than yours. I know that was the battle cry. I know when you were there. I know that with the schools. And we also got Brian. We also got your son Brian, who says, great to see you guys catching up. Now, Brian said he has to go. He said he has to get the vaccine and he has to run. Now, he's looking forward to catching us on the replay. And he says, great job, Russ and Dad. So Brian had to run, but he checked in early, though, Mr. Byrnes.
Yeah, he was getting the shot.
Yeah.
That was good. He's the man.
Yeah.
He was there during some very good years.
Yes.
Jasperville.
Absolutely. We got Bernadette joining in, class of 92. What's going on, Bernadette? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. We also got Eileen Sellinger joining us, Gordon joining us. Oh, another player, former great at Manhattan College, the Lady Jays joining us. Man, they are coming out for my guy, Mr. Byrnes. Oh, man. So, Mr. Byrnes, I have a number of questions, you know, for some fun stuff. Oh, man, it's good stuff. Now, Mr. Byrnes, how many years did you serve as AD at Manhattan? How many years did you serve then?
26 years.
26 years. Okay. Now, Mr. Byrnes, I'm going to take it back a little bit. Do you remember the first day you were in charge of the Manhattan College Athletic Program? Do you remember that first day when you set foot on the campus, you know, to do your duty for 26 years?
I remember meeting with Brother Thomas.
Okay.
who was really a cornerstone, really, of the college to me.
Absolutely.
I had worked for Brother as a high school teacher, coach, and AD years before I came to Manhattan.
Really? Okay.
So we knew each other, and I was working actually in industry when Brother was in touch with me, and I came back and visited with him, and I was in a positive situation in industry, and I used to write on index cards the pluses and minuses of coming back to be the AD or to stay in corporate America. And
okay.
I decided the challenge of trying to improve things at my alma mater. I have a long lineage. My dad is the class of 1928.
Really? Your dad went there as well?
My dad.
Wow.
I have had 5 brothers.
Wow.
Total with cousins and others, nephews, there are about 23 people with either the name Byrnes or O'Connor that have gone through Manhattan. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we and you know it was a big decision, quite frankly. But my first day, I have to tell you, I stayed with my brother in Rockland County when I first got there. My family hadn't moved yet.
Okay.
And I used to cross the George Washington Bridge every day. And I used to say, what did you get yourself involved with here?
While you're crossing the bridge, huh?
It wasn't the toll. It was the mountain that was the job that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'll give you an example
Okay.
of basketball.
Okay.
I arrived in May, 88.
Okay.
At that time, the NCAA tournament was over, and so on and so forth. The Sagarin ratings were out, and the schools were listed. There were 295 schools in Division I at that time. And Manhattan College was at 291.
Ooh, we were the last team.
We weren't last, but we weren't far from it.
Okay.
And
Man.
you know, Brother Thomas was quite literally a genius
Mm-hmm.
in that he was going to improve the physical conditions of the gym,
Yeah.
not of the gym, but of the campus.
Yeah.
Expand boarding and other things, other initiatives, and yet, you know, he gave me the responsibility to find the people who could find the other people to play
Mm-hmm.
and improve our image and you know, get us out in the news in a positive way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So he was like kind of like that architect. He had that foresight to, you know, to make the improvements. Okay, gotcha. Hey, one thing, Mr. Byrnes, before we continue on, we got Pamela Macon joining us. What's going on, Pam? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Pam, I just want to let you know, Van, they got to win this game tonight. St. John's has a big game tonight against Villanova. We got to win that game so we can get to the tournament. So good luck to you guys there, Pam. We also got Kathleen Torres joining us today. Welcome, Kathleen. It's been a while. I haven't heard from Kathleen in years. Man, I'm glad you're here, Kathleen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But continue, Mr. Burns. I'm sorry.
Torres, a great volleyball track athlete.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Uh-huh.
Major League Baseball was very helpful to us on
Yes.
several occasions afterwards.
Yes, absolutely. Kathleen, a sweetheart. Absolutely. Man.
Superstar.
Oh, man. Mr. Burns, do you remember what was your first tough decision that you had at Manhattan College?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was we wanted to get a new men's basketball coach.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in May. Actually, an assistant coach from Notre Dame had contacted Brother directly,
Mm-hmm.
and Brother was very enamored with, you know, the fact that he was at Notre Dame, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Worked with Digger Phelps and so on.
Mm.
And Brother had in mind he thought he was the guy.
Do you remember the guy's name?
Yeah, but I didn't want to say.
Okay, no problem. I got you. All right.
I didn't want to you know, he's a good guy. He's you know, been in basketball and so on.
Okay.
But prior to my arriving at Manhattan, when I was in my other job still,
Mm-hmm.
I got a pile of resumes, or a number of resumes, and one of them was Steve Lapis.
Oh, okay.
Assistant at Villanova.
Right, right.
So I was on business, and I was visiting a DuPont plant in Newark, Delaware, I believe it was,
Mm-hmm.
close to Philadelphia. So I decided to call Steve,
Okay.
and I knew that he had won a state championship, federation championship at Truman.
Yes, with the great Rod Strickland. Yes.
By Strickland. He's a New York guy.
Yep.
And so I said, you know, I'd meet you at some hotel. We'd have breakfast or coffee or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I sat down for coffee, it was actually for coffee for
Okay.
15 minutes or a half hour, and it led to a 3-hour conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And that night I called Brother Thomas, and I said, I know you like so-and-so, but I think I found the guy.
Mm.
And Steve was on the staff at Villanova when Rolly when they won the national championship.
That's right. He's the first guy to hug Coach Mass. I remember on camera. Yup, that lives on.
So he was there with Jay Wright, Pannone,
yes,
and Rolly.
Mm-hmm.
Their office, by the way, was so small for the assistant coaches that if one backed up, the other one would have to pull his seat in so that the guy could move out.
Damn.
It wasn't like, a glamorous situation. And,
right. Right.
So anyway, we had interviews on campus, and we ended up hiring Steve, which was, one of the smartest things I ever did.
Mm.
He was a consummate professional.
Yeah.
I love the gravelly voice, the the intenseness that he had.
Yeah.
And we both were in agreement that it was to build a program.
Mm.
And he built it with the right people from Manhattan College.
Definitely. Yeah.
The kids that came, he came to me early on in the recruiting and said, I can't get Catholic high school CHSAA players to come here. I said, Steve, get them from anywhere. And we ended up recruiting Keith Bullock from Connecticut.
Yes.
Gary Wilson.
Yep.
Gary Edwards.
Yep.
I can't remember who else, but we got
Chris Williams.
Chris Williams, that's right, Carlos Doherty.
Yeah. You had Eric Gottlieb too from Texas.
Eric Gottlieb.
Yep.
So anyway, it was a start, and not only did we get terrific players and people, but they came from terrific families.
Yes, absolutely, yeah, and great programs too. Like they were winners coming from winning programs, so that really jump started the program by giving their DNA into a struggling program.
We wanted a kid, Russ, if I can digress.
Sure.
Steve wanted a big player from Fairfield, that went to Fairfield. Can't remember his name.
Okay.
And the kid, Steve really wanted him. The kid said Steve wanted him to carry the mail, so to speak. And the guy said, I don't know if I'm the guy, to carry the mail. So, in retrospect, Steve says, Steve Bullock, we need the guy. Are you the guy that can carry the mail? And Bullock says, I'll carry the mail.
And then, boy, did he carry the mantle.
So that player at Fairfield had a 4-year losing career, and we certainly didn't.
Yes, thank God for Keith Bullock. Thank God for Keith Bullock. We got Bobby Tingle joining. What's going on, Bobby? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. We also got my cousin James, Randy Williams joining. What's going on, cuz? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. We also got Karen joining us as well as we are speaking to former AD extraordinaire, Mr. Bob Byrnes is talking to us today. Oh, man. Mr. Byrnes, speaking of coaches, and we had Coach Lapp on the show. He spoke, glowingly about you and everything, how you gave him the start, to jump start his career and everything, and really, put the pulse into the program, by you hiring. Did you have a type of strategy, Mr. Byrnes, that you had in hiring talented coaches? Did you have something like in place that you did? Would you have some pixie dust or something like that? How'd you do it there, Mr. Byrnes? Because you had some great coaching hires.
I didn't have a Ouija board.
No Ouija board, okay.
With Steve, he was a New Yorker.
Yes.
He understood, the whole thing of coming here. It's not going to be a shock, the cost, the this, the that, the traffic.
Yeah.
The other thing is I felt that he had the ingredients to bring kids to the place. And he had the right kind of, he had in mind the right kind of kid.
Yeah.
And you know, he'd work hard. He had great family support from his wife Harriet and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the thing was for me was I didn't want to coach the teams, but I wanted as the AD to make the coaches feel secure. That if they lost the game, that they weren't going to be called in to be criticized for this, that, and the other thing, and that I was going to be behind them. It's really quite simple. You know, when you work for somebody and you know they have your back, you feel relaxed, you feel you're willing to take a chance, you're willing to communicate. And we had a great line of communication, as I did with Fran, with other coaches.
Yeah.
And it all had to do with they knew that I was behind them.
Yes.
That, you know, I had Brother Thomas, and in my work career before, I had other people who had my back or where I felt supported, and I wasn't afraid to make decisions. Or the other thing was, when hiring new coaches there at Manhattan, I said I was honest in that I thought that it would take into the third year to honestly evaluate how we were doing.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I used to refer to it as turning the corner. And you know, in Steve's fourth year, we won 7 games the first year. We won 11.
That's true. Hey, Mr. Byrnes, hold on one second. I just want to answer this question for Pam. Pam wants to know, can she ask questions? Absolutely, yes. Ladies and gentlemen out there, if you have any questions for Mr. Byrnes or myself, please type away in the comment bar. Yes. Continue, Mr. Byrnes. I'm sorry about that.
You know, he started out 11, 14, 7, 11, 14 wins.
Yep.
And then won 25 games.
Yes, my senior year. Absolutely. The magical year.
Now, the other thing that I did, which a lot of people might disagree with, Russ, is when I hired somebody, I said to them, I'm going to help you grow, and I'm going to help you go. And you know, if you're in a job and your boss wants you to succeed, even if it means moving on to a better or higher position, I looked at it as he's going to go at some point in time. I want to have an open and honest. So when he told me about when Villanova opened, we had already had a discussion with Brother Thomas and myself as to, you know, where, what conference, what teams, what. And Steve said the only school that I would go to is Villanova. And soon thereafter, Rowley resigned.
Yeah. Yep.
And I called Pedicito, the AD at Villanova, who was totally uninterested in hiring Steve, I thought. But there were other people in the administration that knew better, and Steve ended up having a terrific career there, and he does a terrific job on Comcast right now.
Yeah, he does an excellent job. He's like the new Dickie Vitale, man, I tell you.
Yeah. So I did the same thing with Fran.
Yeah, Fran does an amazing job as well. You got Chris, who does an amazing job on TV, man. Oh, yeah. I tell you, man, it must be something in that Jasper water.
Well, how about Ed Cohen?
Ed Cohen, that's right. Ed Cohen, too. Oh, man, one of the other voices of the Jaspers, no doubt.
I saw Brian Mahoney in Florida recently. And I asked Brian when he left St. John's if he'd be interested in doing color commentating at Manhattan, in part because I think he was in shell shock. But Brian did the job for years.
Yeah, yeah.
And I used to say to Ed, and I said to Brian and to Joel Blumberg, it doesn't matter if there's 5 people, 50, or 500 listening. If you do a really good professional job, people are going to pick up on it and the word will spread, and you'll have opportunity. But you need to really work on your craft.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ed did that.
Yeah.
Ryan did that. Has done TV.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Joe passed away.
Yeah.
But Chris, you know, the operation, or what do you call it? The games
Uh-huh.
on TV, or what we call on your smartphone.
Right.
At least it was an attempt, but it developed a craft. It's just like anything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get good at it, and you move on up.
Yeah, yeah. And that's testament to what you said. We're going to help you, we're going to help you grow on to higher heights. No doubt about it. Hey, Mr. Byrnes, Tariq had a question. Tariq says, curious, ask Mr. Byrnes if he had a favorite men's basketball team. I know that's a tough one, Mr. Byrnes, to answer.
No, I really didn't. You know, I'll tell you what, when I think of Tariq, I think of a really cagey, smart lefty.
Yes.
When we were in the NIT one year, and we get sent out to Wisconsin,
Mm-hmm.
And Dick Bennett was the coach,
Mm-hmm.
I remember for 3 quarters we were nip and tuck with Wisconsin. There was just too many of them. But Tariq Thacker laid it all on the line in that game. He sticks out in my mind as a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yes.
I loved him as a player, and I love him as a person. I've seen him, you know, I think back at the recent reunion.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, yeah. You got to celebrate that, what is it, 25th year of them going to the beating beating Oklahoma in the NIT, right? NCAA.
Right.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know your 25 win team that you had with Steve Lapis.
Mm-hmm.
I said to myself, now I'm only 4 years in from being at the worst program in the nation.
That's right. Yes. Uh-huh.
And now we have 25 wins, and we're in postseason play.
Yes.
That, you know, but there was all the teams I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
I got to give a special shout out to a guest I want you to have on in the future, and that's Jamal Marshall.
Yes.
Who was a part of winning more games than any other Jasper in my time.
Yes, absolutely. All-time winningest player in Jasper history.
And he won 95 games.
Man, that's incredible.
That is an incredible feat.
Yep.
And he had a personality and a presence bigger than anybody in the world.
Yes, bigger than life itself. Absolutely. Who do we got joining? We got Cliff joining. What's going on, Cliff? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. We also got Michael joining. What's going on, Michael? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. Hey, Mr. Burns, I want to piggyback on what you talked about, that 25 and 19. Oh, also, we got Mike Dunn joining us. You remember Mike Dunn from Manhattan? Oh, my God. One of the all-time favorite guys.
Mike Dunn from the fire department?
Yes, that same Mike Dunn, yes. Who's a coach as well, who was the ultimate competitor, scrapper, toughest guy I played with at Manhattan, bar none.
Yep.
Yes. Mr. Tariq says the feeling is mutual, Mr. Byrnes. Thank you for the compliment. Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, people listening on that. Mr. Byrnes, I want to piggyback on that 25 and 19 that you talked about my senior year. And I want to ask you a question about that team because people don't know we went on to go to the NIT. We lost to LaSalle in the championship, the MAC conference. Then we went to the NIT to play. Now, I want to ask you about this question, Mr. Byrnes. It's been years, but I got to get an answer on this. Now, I know during the NIT, we had a good run. We beat Wisconsin Green Bay at home, and then we went to beat Rutgers. Now the next thing was, after we beat Rutgers, and again, I want to go on to like how how I want to go in your thought process, Mr. Byrnes, on the business decision that you made that benefited the Manhattan College program at the time. Now, I just want to paint the picture for everybody. So we beat Rutgers, and the deal was now we were supposed to play Rhode Island at home, and then if we don't win that game, that'll get us to the Final Four, the NIT. But again, something changed, all right? And it was a business decision in which now we were promised to go to Notre Dame, be on national TV. Money's coming our way to the school. So, Mr. Byrnes, I have to ask you this, sir. All these years, this business decision, and I understand why you made it, so I got no problems with it. But did you not have any faith in us that we were going to beat Rhode Island at home, and then we were going to, be at the Garden for the Final Four for the NIT? But again, I understand the business decision that you made as a program, because that was major. Because we got major exposure playing at Notre Dame, and we got guaranteed monies coming back to the school. So I understand it, but what was your thought process there, Mr. Byrnes? And before you answer that, Mike says, love you too, Russ. Welcome, hello to Mr. Byrnes. Keep up the good work. And my man Guy, from Manhattan, he's checking in too. And also my childhood buddy, my boy Vincent Benito, is joining us as well. Man. But Mr. Byrnes, the floor is yours, sir. I want to know about that business decision. Again, I got no qualms about it. I understand it at the time. But that was major for the program.
Russ, I got to say, I don't recall that we guarantee a Rhode Island at home.
Okay.
But
that was the rumor that was going around. They say, hey, look, we're supposed to play Rhode Island. And then I get a call in the dorm, and Coach Lab calls and says, hey, Russ, hey, man, check those plans. We're leaving for Notre Dame in the morning. I was like, what happened?
You know what I said before about taking the ship that was half sunk,
yes,
and get it repaired and fighting shape.
Right.
Going to Notre Dame was a chance for national exposure.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Of a program that had been down for years.
Yes.
And the money didn't really enter into it, because whether you played 3 games, you got money for the 3 games period.
Right. Gotcha.
There wasn't, there was no guarantee we beat whoever the other one was.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a very fair question. It's very fair criticism of people. But the reason was, and I talked it over with my superiors, was here's a chance to put us on ESPN.
Yeah.
In limelight.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, in retrospect, I would have did the same thing too. There's no doubt about it. Because that was major for the program. Here we are now, the team that was 291, like you talked about at one point. Now we're getting that, ESPN exposure.
Now we're in the sub 100. Now we're under 100.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh no, I would have made that. I'd have made that choice as well. So no, and that was the last game I played at University of Notre Dame. I ended my senior year. But no, very memorable. But I remember that, so I was like, wow.
Alfonso Ellis, and the other kid went off.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I knew we were in trouble, Mr. Byrnes, when it was an all-out sprint from foul on the spy line. I was like even with Alfonso Ellis. The next thing, he overtook me for the dunk. I was like, oh, we in trouble, man. This guy's like 6'10", 6'11", out sprinting me. I wasn't the fastest guy, but I was faster than the 6'10" guy, at the time. So I thought.
But that was special.
Yeah.
It put us out there.
Yep.
I was on the NIT committee. I was involved with with the ESPN in decision making.
Yeah.
For all the tournaments. And the Wisconsin Green Bay. I don't know if you recall, but who were the show? Mike and the Mad Dog. Mad Dog
right.
kept saying that Wisconsin Green Bay deserved in the tournament. They're the Cinderella team. If they put them in the tournament, these guys are going to win some games. So in preparation for the tournament, I saw in their literature that they had no home arena available to play a game. So in the meetings, I said, I want to play Cinderella in Dratty. And so we played Cinderella.
Yes.
And you know what happened.
Absolutely. I know,
Mike,
yep.
Mad Dog came to the game.
Wow.
And it was on our bandwagon for a while because we had beaten Cinderella.
Absolutely. With a steal by Carrie Edwards for a dunk at the end.
Exactly. And Tony Bennett Jr., who's the coach of Virginia.
Yes.
He didn't play the first 4 minutes of the game.
Yep.
And came in and played 36 minutes and scored 36 points.
Yeah, he had a bad back injury during that time. Yeah, and Coach Lapp, he shared with us the story on that game and it was funny because we're talking about where we were, like you talked about the 291 rating, into what we were at that time, because it was a situation where Dratty was sold out that night, and there was a number of people scalping tickets to get into the game.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was one of the best games of Dratty ever.
Absolutely. I remember the stanchions were shaking, man. You could really feel it at that time. That was really big. That was really big. Who we got joining us? We got Maggie joining. What's going on, Maggie? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. We also got Jason Benton. You remember Jason? He says Russ and Mr. B. Oh, yes, my man, Jason Benton. Oh, good dude. Yep.
Man.
Yep.
Child.
Yes. How the man child, no doubt about it. Yes. And Chris says it gets tough in Dratty. No doubt about that. The Dratty Dome, as some people call it. Now, Mr. Byrnes, I know you're a modest guy, and I know you're one of the nicest and good guys that I know. And I want to share with the group a good guy story about Mr. Byrnes. And Mr. Byrnes, you probably be blushing through the phone, but I have to share this story with everybody, okay? So, my senior year, we're about to wrap up a regular season title. We've never done that in the history of the school. So we're playing St. Peter's College, and we beat St. Peter's the week before, and we were playing them again. So we had to play them like back-to-back times. And, we're playing them at St. Peter's. So I had to come up with something. Me as the captain, I was like, my guys, we got to have some incentive, for us to wrap this up, the first time regular season championship. So I came up with this white lie. I got in front of my teammates and I said, hey guys, I just talked to Mr. Byrnes. He's on board with this. He says if we win this game and win this title outright, the MAC regular season title outright, he is going to get us championship ring. So all we got to do is take care of business. So we win the game. We go on to win the game. And then the funny thing about this story is, guys, 10 years later, we never got the ring. So I just want to tell you that first. We never got championship rings because I never even talked to Mr. Byrnes about sharing the story that I had with my teammates. So close to 10 years later has passed and we get ready to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of that. So I go to Mr. Byrnes and I say, Mr. Byrnes, I said, hey, look, I want to share with this white lie. And I said, hey, look, I lied to the team. I said, hey, look, if we win this game, we're going to get championship rings. But I never talked to you about it. And I remember, Mr. Byrnes, you said to me, Russ, he says, why you didn't tell me sooner? Come on, let's do the championship rings. You said that we were going to get the rings. Let me do this. So here you had Mr. Byrnes, based on that conversation, taking care of the players on that team and taking care of the coaching staff and the managers, everybody who was involved with that team. Mr. Byrnes created championship rings for us. We had a nice celebration, a 10-year celebration at Dratty, and it was amazing. And it was all stemmed from this white lie that I'd had to try to motivate the team. But you came through, Mr. Byrnes. Oh, man, I remember that like that was yesterday, man. And again, you're a giver, so, that was the best gift that you gave to us and that team that year.
Dude, certainly deserves it, boy.
Mm-hmm.
You helped us rise up from the ashes. And you know, those first few years were not easy.
Right.
And, looking back, though, earning respect, you know, what I said to you about people growing and going,
Yeah.
that I said to Fran Frischella also,
Mm-hmm.
and other coaches, not that I wanted them to leave, but I wanted them to know that I had their back,
Mm-hmm.
and that they didn't have to worry about sneaking around or contacting people
Mm-hmm.
or doing this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest and above board.
Yeah.
You know what? This is America, and if you can improve your lot in life or position,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's fine. I felt confident that when there was a void, because of the success of Steve and Fran,
Mm-hmm.
that the void would be filled with great candidates.
Yeah.
And again, we could keep it going. But,
Right.
you know, that may be pie in the sky, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, the personality of people, the enthusiasm. You know, I feel really fortunate that Steve was a grad assistant essentially, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Fran
Yeah.
was somewhat similar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have a coach in baseball, in Steve Tripper down at Stetson.
Okay.
He's a grad assistant.
Nice.
He was like a 25-year-old grad assistant at Vermont when I hired him in baseball, and he turned our baseball program around completely.
Wow.
And other guys followed him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so you had success in other sports too, and it's funny too, Mr. Byrnes, because you know I was a little selfish at the time because we thought of you as the AD for the basketball program. We didn't take into consideration that you oversee other sports as well. So you were kind of like our AD. That's the feeling I had, you know, when we were at the school there. But you know, we know that you had your hands in other programs and other sports in the program as well. I hear you on that. Mr. Byrnes, I got a question for you. Now, I want to ask you this, and it might be tough to answer this question because it's almost like picking your favorite child. But do you have a top 5 athletes you enjoy watching and working with? Do you have like a top 5 at Manhattan? I know that's a tough one. It's like choosing your kid. What your favorite kid is, what you can't do.
Yeah, it's very hard to do because of so many.
Yeah, definitely.
Offered so much so many times.
Yep.
The teams that made the tournament, and then were fearless in competing. To go.
Yeah.
Brother Gregory Hunt was very close to me.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Love Brother Gregory.
I have a boy named Brian Gregory after Brother.
Wow.
And so
didn't know that. Okay.
When we went to play Oklahoma.
Okay.
The AD at Kansas, who put us in the tournament, was we were the last team in.
Right.
And he was in attendance.
Mm-hmm.
And he took a lot of flack from Bobby Crimmins at Georgia Tech because they took Manhattan instead of him.
Right.
But going away from, Oklahoma, some funny things happened. We had no band.
Yep. Yep.
The people came up to us, asked if they could play
Wow.
I was walking out of the arena with Brother Gregory, and a man came up to us, and said, "Are you Brother Jasper?" Brother Gregory.
Right.
It was just a lot of fun things. And then we gave, rightfully so, we had Arizona State. We could have, that was a very winnable game.
Definitely. Yeah.
Anyway.
Nah, I got you.
I can't say.
You can't give me a top five, which I understand. And Pam put it best. She says, "Wow, put him on the spot, Russ." And I apologize for that.
The thing that the top five for me is the quality of the people,
mm-hmm.
the fact that they paid attention to school,
mm-hmm.
followed the rules,
mm-hmm.
essentially at the institution,
mm-hmm.
Mixed with the student body.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about social justice
uh-huh.
and race relations, and I felt like we had terrific race relations between coaches, student body, cheering, just
mm-hmm.
a very positive feeling there.
Right.
I listened to Bill Russell the other day
mm-hmm.
On an interview,
mm-hmm.
and he talked about them as a first-year Celtic not being able to stay in a hotel.
Yeah, he had it rough there in Boston, Bill Russell.
And Brother Thomas, at many Block M programs, spoke about Junius Kellogg and Ken Norton, the coach.
Ooh, I want to talk to you about Julius Kellogg too, but continue there, Mr. Byrnes.
They were in a tournament in Chicago, and the tournament committee said, "You guys can stay here, but Junius has to stay in another hotel." Mm-hmm. And Ken Norton said, "He doesn't stay in this hotel. We're going back to New York," and they did.
Mm.
And that was back in the 1949, 1950s.
Right.
And I was always very proud of that. And Brother was especially proud to mention it at so many Block M dinner and at alumni Hall of Fame dinners, because it was a statement years ago about doing the right thing and racial justice.
Yes, absolutely.
I've always, and I knew Junius from coming to games, and
mm-hmm.
when you were playing, and Junius used to come, and he'd have the biggest smile on his face, and I frequently said to him, "Junius, I'm as nervous as a cat, and you're as happy as a dog who had a best meal."
Yeah.
And I said, I admire you so much for your courage and, your being.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what?
I loved him.
Yeah. And I'm going to talk to you more about Julius Kellogg as well. We got JoJo Walters, one of the Jasper's finest, Hall of Famer, joining us. And we also got another Hall of Famer, Donna Sebo, is joining us as well. Oh, man. We got some great people on here representing Mr. Byrnes here tonight. And speaking of Julius Kellogg, Mr. Byrnes, because I know we've had conversations about Julius Kellogg in the past, and a lot of people don't know about Julius Kellogg. Julius Kellogg is a player who played at Manhattan College, he is really responsible for taking down the point shaving scandal, in which he was approached. They tried to get him to throw games, and he testified that, he was being approached and everything. He really brought that down. He's one of the major figures to do that. And I know, Mr. Byrnes, in the past we talked. I know you were talking about this, and I know you were talking about maybe having, Dratty Gymnasium, having it being called the Julius Kellogg Court or something along those lines. I think, this day and time, I think that would be a great thing. Maybe if Manhattan College could do something like that, or I would go as far as, if we could, and maybe we could talk to the people at Manhattan College. I know Marianne Rowley is a great AD there now. Maybe we could be in conversation, but I think maybe it's called Dratty Gymnasium. Maybe it should be called Kellogg Gymnasium or or what have you. But what are your thoughts on that, Mr. Byrnes? And what did Julius Kellogg mean to you? I know you talked about him briefly, but what did he mean to you as well?
Well, I got to know Junius very well.
Mm-hmm.
His roommate was a white guy named Bob Otten, who passed away last year.
Mm.
They were very close, and Bob Otten put together a manuscript
Yes.
in hopes of making a film regarding Junius. It's very close to the story of Jack Twyman and another player in the NBA. I can't think of his name right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Bob ran a dinner
Mm-hmm.
in Smith Auditorium.
Okay.
We had Globetrotters, we had people from the NBA
Mm-hmm.
in attendance, and raised about $125,000 to help pay off Junius's bills because he had a caretaker because he's in a wheelchair
Yeah.
who siphoned off money and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a terrific man, and as far as putting his name on the court,
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be perfectly appropriate.
Yes.
Perfectly. I don't think the gym name should be changed because Dratty put up whatever.
Okay.
But I think the court is a great idea.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. I agree.
And also a likeness of him.
That'd be nice. I can see a likeness of him maybe in the corner, the left corner of the court or what have you, something along those lines. Yeah, I could definitely see that. We got a petition for that. Okay, maybe I'll talk to Marianne Rowley on that one. I think she'll be pretty resilient about doing that. That sounds like a great idea, Mr. Byrnes.
Yeah, no, I think I totally agree.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. We got my man Speedy Williams joining us. What's going on, Speedy? I gotta have you on here, sir. I gotta have you on here, man. So watch out for the invite, all right? All right, man. Yes, yes, sir.
Do you have different athletes on?
Yeah, we got all types of athletes coming on here. Yeah, we got everybody coming on.
I'll give you a name if you haven't had him on.
Who's this?
Michael Williams.
Michael Williams from Manhattan who ran track?
Yep.
Okay. I got to see who that. Yeah, I remember Michael when we were in school.
Michael Williams
Okay.
was a terrific runner from Jamaica.
Yes.
I'm not sure of.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure of all the particulars, but
Okay.
I went to bat a little bit for Michael Williams because I thought he was a terrific person.
Yes.
And
Great
he got
guy.
He got himself in a little jam,
Okay.
and you know how people overreact, should be thrown out of school, this, that, and the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to Brother Thomas and said, "Brother, this is a good kid. I know him. I see him at practice.
Yeah.
I know." I said, "I want to tell you what, brother.
Mm-hmm.
He'll not only come back next year,
Mm-hmm.
but he will do everything required in school, and he will be a national champion at 400 meters."
Mm.
And you know what he did?
I would imagine he became the champion, huh?
Became national champion. He ran away with the indoor 400 meters.
Wow. Yes. Good guy too. Yeah. You know what? I'll reach out to him. I definitely will reach out to him. We got Greg Berman. Greg says Bob was the best. He says he hired some of the best coaches in the MAC. Absolutely. Yes. He had that pixie dust that he's not talking about. But again, it goes back to the support that you have for everybody. So, but that's just Greg giving you a shout out. Hey, Mr. Byrnes, I appreciate you coming on today. And again, I know you don't do this, so I really appreciate having you on. But I got one more question I got my last question for you, Mr. Byrnes, and I have you head on this one, okay? Now, if you had a do-over, if you had one mulligan or one do-over to do as AD at Manhattan College, would you do it? Or, and if you did, what would that mulligan or what would that do-over be?
Good question. I think maybe I would have gotten into the. I guess my one mulligan is I should have played Rhode Island.
No, but you know what, it's funny you said that, but again, I understood the reasoning in that. So it's all good. We got to make business decisions. The lights have to stay on in Draddy Gymnasium. I get it. I understand it. So no, don't worry about that mulligan. You were good with that one. You got in the fairway with that. You don't got to take a second swing on that one. No. You were good on that one.
Well.
Oop, you there, Mr. Byrnes?
Yeah,
okay.
I don't have really mulligans.
Okay.
I want to say something before I get off.
Sure, absolutely. The floor is yours.
I want to give a shout out to Jack Powers, the prior AD and executive director of the NIT, who's had a serious heart operation here recently.
Yeah.
He's recuperating at home and doing battle. He's the quintessential Jasper.
Mm-hmm.
He was on the team that beat Jerry West in the NCAA tournament back in the 50s.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep.
And it was 35 years since Jack had won that game that we hadn't been in this tournament.
Yeah.
I remember headlines and papers saying it's been a 35-year absence since Manhattan had been in, and anyway.
Yeah, and you know what? Ironically about Jack Powers and myself was I was able to beat his scoring record too before I graduated. Yep, he was the next guy in line. So yeah, and great guy, man. We're pulling for him. I know he's doing, he's mending in his recovery. Yeah, I just heard about that as well. We got Tariq. Now, Tariq says this, Mr. Byrnes, before you head out, he says, how about you name half of the court Mr. Byrnes and call it even? He says he made it happen at Jasper Nation for an extended period of time. So Tariq is saying half of the court Bob Byrnes, other half Julius Kellogg. I like it. I like that one. Good one, Tariq. I like that, man.
I love the conversation tonight. I love all the guys. I really do, and the people that checked in.
Yes.
I'll tell you one thing I used to say,
and
I didn't tell you a story.
Okay.
About you during your junior, senior year, being on crutches, and always having that smile.
Thanks.
Just like Junius Kellogg, even though things weren't going your way, you still were a positive force, a leader, and a really, really happy, positive guy. And you are the absolute quintessential guy to be doing the show.
Oh, hey, Mr. Byrnes, I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. No, I thank you for that. And again, I know you don't do these often, but I was so glad to have you come on. And I'm glad people had a chance to reach out to you and, and comment and reach out to you and see how you were doing and everything. And I see that, you're making that transition from being former AD to now retirement. So I know that's been very successful for you as well. So again, I thank you so much, Mr. Byrnes, my friend. I call you my friend. So I thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate it.
I love you, my friend. I always have and always will.
Oh, thank you. Love you too, Mr. Byrnes. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All righty. That is Mr. Bob Byrnes, former AD at Manhattan College. He is your favorite athletic director. That's the best way to sum up Mr. Bob Byrnes. Oh, man. Great stuff. Great stuff. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, here on Transition Tuesdays, we transition to other things. And I want to briefly talk before we head on out. I wanted to briefly talk about Cam Newton and his exchange, the exchange he had with this young, disrespectful kid on Instagram. And if you guys haven't heard it, I'm going to play you the excerpt of what went down in this particular case between Cam Newton and this young man. Man, I'll let you guys listen and then we'll talk about it a little bit afterwards. Hold on one second. Let me just cue it up here. Okay? All right. Hold on one sec.
You asked, you're a free agent. You're a free agent. You're a free agent. You about to be poor. I'm rich. You about to be poor. I'm rich. You about to be poor. I'm rich. You're a free agent. I'm rich. I'm a free agent. I'm rich. He's a free agent. I don't know what your daddy is. Let me talk to your dad.
Oh, man.
Where's your dad? You're a free agent. Where's your dad? You're a free agent. You're a free agent. You asked. Talk to you. Let me talk. Where's your dad? Where's your pop?
All right, let me stop it right there. Okay, man, all right. Man, it's really hard to hear. I mean, there's a lot of blame to go around in this particular episode that you heard between Cam Newton and this young man. Now, first off, Cam Newton is a pillar in the Carolina community. And here was a man, he didn't have to do this. Let's keep this in mind. Here's a man who's having a football camp. And you have this young man who decide to put on his own agenda and really is being disrespectful to Cam Newton, talking about how he's calling him ass. You know, you ass, you ain't a good player no more, and again, there's a lot of blame to go around, and it's twofold because, the kid was being disrespectful. But again, you had, Cam Newton was just saying, I'm rich, you know what I mean? Kind of adding fuel to the fire. But again, being disrespectful is one thing, but oh man, it was just so hard to hear this, really, oh man, to really comment on this. But, it's a lot of blame to go around with this one, man. And, oh man, it really hurt. This one really hurt because you have a young man, you got to be respectful to your elders. I mean, that's the bottom line. I mean, I don't know, and again, I'll say this too, because again, this seemed planned. So again, I kind of blame the people filming this whole thing too. And these probably young kids doing it. Probably this young man was like, saying like, I'm about to do this. Had this stuff, start to record and then we'll go from there. So, it's just crazy. This was just crazy hearing this about with Cam Newton, and him saying, where's your dad? Now that could be taken in two phases. Maybe Cam was thinking about, where's your dad? Because number one, is your dad around to hear how disrespectful you acting, number one. All right. So maybe that was the case. Maybe that's why Cam was saying that. But the kid was being so disrespectful. I mean, for saying, you ass and, you going to lose money, cause you're a free agent now you're going to be poor. I mean, it was totally wrong on a whole lot of levels, man. We got my man Mike Dunn says, great, Mr. Powers. Great job, I guess. Great to hear from Mr. Byrnes, great leader and great man. Yes, we have Sandra Sapone Taylor join. What's going on, Sandra? Oh, welcome to Transition Tuesdays. And also we got one of the better ADs in the land. We got my man Lenny Pitt joining us as well. Hopefully Lenny and hopefully Sandra, you heard the interview by Mr. Byrnes. Oh man, he dropped some gems. And you know all about those gems, Sandra. I know you do here, back then at Manhattan College. I know you do. So, but getting back to the Cam Newton situations, I think this can be rectified. I think Cam Newton, what he needs to do is get together with this young man publicly and have some dialogue about what went on, because it didn't look good. It didn't look good on Cam's part. It didn't look good on this young man's part. We gotta teach these kids at a young age to be respectful. You gotta be respectful of your elders. Maybe it might be, me being in the North all these years, but I had a chance to live down South for 9 years. You know what I mean? Down South is yes, sir, no, sir. You know, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am type of deal. So it might be a regional thing, but disrespectfulness is disrespectfulness. And that's what that young man showed. But it'd be a good idea if maybe Cam, this young man, got together in a public forum, have some conversation about what took place, because, you know, it was one of those deals that just didn't feel right, you know, about the disrespectfulness. And I'll share with you guys a quick story about, you know, respecting your elders. Shout out to my man Chris, who's on here, man. You know, my man Chris has the Pick and Pop podcast, and we did the show yesterday, and we had a young man on there by the name of Jalen Blakes. He's one of the best basketball players in the country. He came on the show, and we chopped it up. And the great thing about this young man, peep this out, everybody. The great thing about this man is he texted me afterwards, and he says, Mr. Williams, hey, it was great meeting you on the show. You know, glad you came on, what have you. And I thought that was so great. He called me Mr. Williams. And I texted him back. I said, no, it was a pleasure meeting you too, man. I said, and by the way, you can call me Russ. You know, so we had that conversation going. We had that respect going on. You know, he was a young man respecting his elder. And then again, I was letting him know, hey, look, you know, you're calling me Mr. Williams, but you could call me Russ. You know, we've had that conversation to do that. So I think, you know, Cam and this young man can take a lesson in that. And, you know, we need to rectify that, because that wasn't a good visual to see at all. My man Tariq says, I agree, Russ. It needs to be publicly in the right form and not behind the scenes. Absolutely. No doubt about that, Tariq. No doubt. I agree with you, my man, wholeheartedly. Man. Yeah, it just left a bad taste in my mouth. But it can be resolved. And young people out there, millennials who watch the show, what have you, whatever, respect your elders. No need to, you know, act crazy out here, because that was absolutely crazy. And I got faith in y'all. So you're going to do well. Don't worry about that. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you were able to laugh, smile, and think during our broadcast, you have accomplished something major. So celebrate your victory. Celebrate your victory today as I play my theme music. My man Michael Sullivan is watching us. What's up, Michael? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays, my man. Jasper. So, I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for you watching Transition Tuesdays each and every Tuesday here. If you missed the show or other shows, I have a YouTube channel called Transition Tuesdays. You can go there, check out the shows. If you're not following me, what's your problem? You need to be following me on IG, okay? At RWillTransitions. That's the letter R, WILL. The word transitions, RWill Transitions. Follow me on IG, please, okay? And shout out to my special guest, Mr. Bob Byrnes, for coming on the show. Man, great insight on what's going on, and you know, his great tool is that he served, you know, at the Manhattan College community, one of the better athletic directors in the land when he was doing it. So, you know, shout out to Mr. Byrnes as well. And I'll be remiss if I didn't mention, because I just came down, I just heard that Tiger Woods was in a car accident, a bad car accident in California, and I think he's being operated on now. It's not life-threatening, thank God. He was able, you know, to come away from the injuries, but I know he's in surgery right now, so prayers go up to Tiger Woods, man. Prayers go up to that young man. Man, oh man, oh man. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we say in parting, happy transitioning, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody. God bless.